It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show.
Welcome to the Dep Lewis Show, episode 99. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Sunday, October 20th, 2024. A great day for a podcast about video games and much more, and that's what I'm here to do. So welcome to the show. Hope you're doing great out there in the world. Hope everything's been coming up roses. Hope everything's been wonderful and fantastic and outstanding and amazing and exciting and just a really, really great time out there in the world, wherever you are, whatever you're doing while you're listening to this video game podcast. So thank you for being here. That's all I really want to say. Really do hope you're doing good out there. Just thank you for returning. Thank you, everyone. The first order of business is to ask you to follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. So find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. If you'd like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/DepLewisShow is available. If you'd like to subscribe monthly and get some additional benefits, and then Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any moment if you would like to support the show. Those are my two avenues I have for monetizing this wonderful video game podcast, so that's what I'm trying to work towards at the moment. All right. Today's show, we're going to have three sections as always. The first section will be what video games I've been playing since I've last talked to you on this microphone. The second section is the midsection, so that's everything you need to know about the video game world, video game news, releases, information, rumors, speculation, happenings, everything you need to know about the video game world in the past week will be summarized in the midsection, so that's a pretty important section of the show. And the third section gives everyone in the world a break from my video game spiel, and it's the miscellaneous talk section where I can talk about anything I want to outside of the video game world. So usually get into the worldwide world of sports and tell you about what's going on with all my favorite teams, and today will be no exception because today is a football Sunday in the United States of America, and the great Carolina Panthers are playing the Washington Commanders today. So I say great very loosely. They're a great form of entertainment. I guess that was something. Well, that can even be questioned sometimes, but they're going to be playing a very hot Washington Commanders team who is favored to win by, I think it's a touchdown. So we will see how that goes. But that's going on later today in the afternoon if you're listening in real time to this podcast. And there's a lot of great stuff going on in the sports world. So we're going to get to that in the third section of the show, the miscellaneous talk section. But first, we got to get down to brass tacks and talk about a form of entertainment called video games. That's what we're going to talk about right now. So what have I been playing video game-wise? It is October 20th. It's getting closer to the end of the year, so I have to pick a game of the year. That's what I'm contractually obligated to do here on the Dep Lewis Show. It's a demand of the streets, of the people, of everyone. Dep Lewis Show has to pick a game of the year. So I'm going to pick a game of the year. I'm calculating them in my brain, trying to think what's going on, and it's definitely a toss-up. I've had prior years where I say throughout the year, this is the game of the year, and I even had instances earlier this year of being like that as well, but I really don't know what game it is. I need to play some more of these games is the thing. I need to get some more information and fun out of these games and see which one I'm really going to stack up and pick when it comes down to that brass tack. So I think some of these games here I'm playing in the past week are in contention for that. So the first one is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I am into Chapter 4 in this game right now, so I'm not too far yet, but I've been making some progress, which is nice. Chapter 3 was the section where you play as Barret. It's still fun to shoot things with Barret as it was in the remake, the first part of the remake. In that section, I think it was a lot more indoors that time, and this one's a little bit, I guess it's in a cave, I think it is. So that is, a little bit indoors. I was saying previously, I like some of the indoor sections in this game, and we're kind of missing them, so I got a little more of a linear narrative-driven section with the Barret section. It was pretty fun going around with his big machine gun and shooting a lot of rocks, and he can climb things with one arm, so that's impressive. Wanted to point that out, so go Barret. So I finished Chapter 3 in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I moved on to Chapter 4. We're back to the outside world. It's very beautiful and rocky looking, and we have to go quiet into the Shinra city. So I forget what the name of the new city we're going to go into, but the only city I guess I've seen so far has been the one named Calm with a K. And this game has been very, very fun. So it's been the year of the RPG on the Dep Lewis Show, a year of, not renewed focus, a year of extreme focus on the RPG genre. So that definitely falls into it, and this has been a very fun game, and it's in contention for Game of the Year for sure, and I need to get moving on. I need to start playing some more of it. All right, another game. I'm going to say that. I'm going to quit saying that because that's true for all these games. I need to play some more of them. The next game I've been playing is The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. I've gotten another heart piece since I've last talked to you. I have been exploring the open world on horseback. I defeated the big sandstorm enemy in the desert, so I've been doing the Gerudo desert section. That's where I've been trying to make some progress, and I have been making some progress. So I had to go around and help some soldiers out in 3 different areas, and now I'm trying to go. I guess I have to go mend the rift. So I'm doing some work over there in the valley, making some progress on Zelda. I still think this game is fun. I think this one's in contention for Game of the Year for me for sure. I was playing with some headphones on last night and handheld, enjoying the music in the game and the whole environment and the vibe and talking to the people. And I still really do like making the smoothies. That's been a huge part of this game. I didn't immediately like it because I was missing the cooking mechanics from Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. But the smoothie it's fast and snappy. He makes the smoothies for you. You give him the ingredients. It's basically akin to the cooking section. It just takes a few little frames, a few little seconds of your time, and then you have the smoothie and you can sell it or do with what you want with it. So it's been fun. It stinks to get an unfortunate smoothie, which is a bad mixture of things that doesn't come out good and doesn't really give you any positive effects. But this game has been fun, and it is up there. I'm really having a great time with it. I've never completed a Zelda game. I've said that 19 million times on the show, and I would love to complete one at some point, and I'm just going to keep proceeding forward because this game has been very fun. The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. All right, another game that is definitely in contention for Game of the Year is Balatro, a wonderful video game, a roguelite card game, kind of based on the structure of poker, a little bit like solitaire. You're kind of playing yourself for a high score. Really, really amazing game, inexpensive game. It is now out on mobile. I believe it's $9.99 on mobile if you'd like to play it there. I think it's a perfect way to play Balatro. I've got a couple friends of the show in on the Balatro. Friend of the show, Sanfi, the great Dep Lewis Show guest, and friend of the show, Pab. We're both Balat. I was calling them Balat Bros because they were playing a lot of this game like I am, and I am back into it. And I'm making some runs. I had a run with a whole bunch of money, which was nice. I had $124, I think, was the high at some point. And I've been using the red deck mainly, but my money run was pretty fun because I was able just to kind of keep upgrading and re-rolling as much as I wanted to. And I still have not completed a run yet. I think Pab and Sanfi are at 5 and 3 completions, so they have really, really been diving in and kicking some you-know-what on the Balatro. So it's been a really great game. I think it's definitely got to be in contention for Game of the Year and something that I keep playing. It's great to play any time of the day for any amount of time. It's extremely fun. I think it's going to be a classic video game, and shout out to Balatro, a wonderful video game. So those have been 3 pretty big heavy hitters. So I've also been making some progress in a demo, and that is the Metaphor ReFantazio demo. So that falls perfectly in line with the year of the RPG on the Dep Lewis Show, so that's nice. It's a great game created by Atlas and published by Atlas, the makers of Persona 3, 4, and 5. So I've been playing this demo. I think I'm a couple hours into this, and I am enjoying what I'm seeing so far. I'm really enjoying all the dialogue. I think the game looks pretty awesome. Stylistically, artistically, graphically, fidelity-wise, all those kind of things. The game looks very visually impressive. There's a lot going on the screen, but it's all very kind of comfortable looking and interesting and just really unique and cool. It's really, really fun. You can definitely see some of the through lines to the Persona series, so it's doing a lot of the same things there and some very, very similar things to that, but it has a whole new flavor to it and there's a whole new, the story. You're the Seeker, so that's one of the archetypes. The Seeker, that is the protagonist character who actually does have some dialogue, which is nice. The Warrior and the Mage are the other 2 that I've seen so far for archetypes. And I made Grius. You have choices where you can choose which path or way you want your companions to go on. So for Grius, the grizzled old veteran, I told him to be a warrior, even though I already have a warrior. And Stoll, I believe his name is, Stohl. And Gallica over there doing some magic for me as my faithful sidekick, and there's some really good stuff going on in this game. So I've been playing this on the Xbox. The demo is available anywhere, but it's been very fun over there on the Xbox to have something and have a RPG. So I think if I have to pick this up, maybe I'll pick it up on Xbox since I have Final Fantasy VII going on the PlayStation pretty seriously right now. I'm really loving that game. But Metaphor ReFantazio has been a lot of fun. I really want to, I guess, before I push the trigger on buying the game, is get through the prologue, because the demo is the prologue section. I heard you can get up to like 8 hours of content in this, so I think I have a long way to go, but it feels like I got to be close to the end of the demo, like based on what I've seen so far. They've given a lot of the game away. It's been very fun. I've played a couple hours of it, so I wouldn't be surprised. I'm a little bit on the lookout for, hey, you got to pony up for the game now if you want to play it. I feel like they've given a lot in this demo, so it could just be a very generous demo, and maybe that's the case. But it's seemingly a very great game. I think it's been getting a lot of the Game of the Year buzz, but something with these large RPGs, it's going to be hard for me to finish them quickly, but something I want to consistently play because it's fun to keep up with the story, and they're very fun to play in the combat. I think that's something in this game too that is in its favor, kind of like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, that it has a really great combat system that's fun to engage with. Even on these random encounters that you have to get into, you're going to have fun doing the combat. There's fun ways to do the combat in the open world. I wrote the open world slashing combat is very fun, kind of like Persona 3 Reload earlier in the year, so that's one of those kind of through lines to the Persona series. But it just feels especially good in this game in the open world when you're slashing guys and you don't have to get into the actual turn-based combat with them. You can just handle your business. You can TCB in the environment. It's pretty cool. And I wrote the music is cool, the menus are cool, the combat is fun. Just making sure I go over all my notes here on the metaphor ReFantazio, and it's seeming it's been a great time. So maybe I'll play some more of it. So those have been the games I've been playing this week: Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, Balatro, Metaphor ReFantazio. I think Astrobot is the only real big omission in there, and something I need to push through to the end. I'm on one of the last worlds in that game. I need to talk about that for Game of the Year as well, and throw it in the mix here for my argument against myself for what's the best game of the year. And it's been the year of the RPG on the Dep Lewis Show. So I've had a whole year of focusing on the RPG genre more than I would, and trying them out, and I really think it might be my favorite video game genre at the moment. So for my video game list of things, just kind of for organization's sake, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and Astrobot I would like to complete. Yeah, and that is still the case. I think those are the big three right now that I have for games that I really want to push through and kind of have on my docket or my list of games that I'd like to complete. And I'm going to add to that as I see fit. I don't know if I'm going to pick a year of the blank genre for next year. I was thinking fighting games for a while, but I lost some steam there with the fighting games in the last little bit. So this podcast and this section of the podcast are for me, telling you about my video game likes and delving into them a little bit more and trying to refine them as I go. So that is kind of the whole goal here, and having some fun with it. So year of the RPG for this year, still a couple months left on that, and I will continue to focus on you RPGs. Don't you worry. All right, so that's everything I've been playing, all the fun video games I've been into, and my thoughts. And that is going to wrap up the first section of the show. So thank you for listening to that. You're going to hear some lovely break music in just a bit, and we're going to come back for the mid section of the show, is where I tell you about what's going on around the video game world. So all the video game news and information that you need to know, summarized in a great way in the mid section after this music. Welcome back to the mid section of the best show you'll ever know, the Dep Lewis Show, episode 99. This is the mid section where I tell you what's going on around the video game world. So let's get right into it. Xbox had a partner preview this past week on 10/17, Brick Squad Day, 10/17/2024. It was around 30 minutes in length. You can go watch this now on YouTube. I would advise you to do so. If you'd like to see this, see the gameplay and see all these games I'm talking about and more, go check that out. It's on Xbox's YouTube channel. Or go watch. I watched Giant Bomb stream over this one. I don't know if MinMax did, but go watch some great internet personality talk over the presentation on there. But I'm going to tell you about what's going on with it. So the games that I thought were cool in this Xbox partner preview, start with kind of having them in order here. And I'm just going to go down the list, and I'll kind of give you my thoughts after. So the first thing I want to talk about is a game called FCB Firebreak. This is Remedy Entertainment unveiled this game previously known as Project Condor. It's a 3-player cooperative multiplayer first-person shooter set in the mysterious world of Control. It will launch in 2025. And this was the game, if you have watched the trailer, this is the one everyone was kind of saying looks a little bit like Left 4 Dead and Control mixed together, I think was the two. But the people were getting Left 4 Dead vibes from this, I guess from the co-op experience and a little bit of the, kind of like horror aspect of the enemies. But they're saying this will launch in 2025. That's FCB Firebreak. 100% know what the FCB is, but here's like the details on the game. As the Bureau's headquarters faces a deadly and prolonged siege by otherworldly forces, only Firebreak, its most adaptable response unit, has the skills and courage to restore order. So, Firebreak, it must be like the Firebreak squad. The mid-priced FCB, I don't know if that meant the game is mid-priced. There's some, I was looking at, this is from their website, but I don't know if I interpreted it incorrectly, but I'm here, trying to tell you about it. The mid-priced FCB, that I was a little bit unclear of what that meant, but Firebreak will be the first self-published game from Remedy Entertainment and is scheduled to release in 2025 for PC via Steam and Epic Games Store, Xbox Series X and S, and PlayStation 5. It will launch day one on PC Game Pass and Game Pass Ultimate. It also launches day one on the PlayStation Plus game catalog, available for all extra and premium members. So basically, Remedy has a Left 4 Dead looking kind of cooperative game that looks pretty cool called FCB Firebreak coming out in 2025. And I think one of the interesting notes there was it's coming to Game Pass, whatever tier, the Ultimate one, probably day one. Some of that stuff's confusing as well, so just make sure you do your homework there before knowing what you're buying with Game Pass, because they have made that stuff ever confusing these days. It also launches on the PlayStation Plus catalog, so you never hear people talking about PlayStation Plus as a great value, but you can see it's kind of doing some of the same stuff here now as Game Pass, so it's a little bit of a similar, I think I've said similar a million times on this podcast already, but PlayStation Plus, I guess they're trying to position themselves a little bit as a Game Pass themselves. And what did they have on the PlayStation Game Pass? So I wonder if that's going to be like Kleenex or whatever, or a tissue where you just call it Kleenex. They've already snuck in and got the Game Pass title, but FCB Firebreak definitely was. That's how they closed the show out, and it seems like that was the heavy hitter from the show. So I don't think this was that great of a show if you want to get a spoiler alert on what's going on with my thoughts. But I keep telling you about what's going on because there's definitely some cool stuff here. Alan Wake 2, the Lake House DLC, is the second and final expansion of Alan Wake 2. It's going to release on October 27, 2023. Or, no, I'm sorry. Scratch that. That's when Alan Wake 2 released. The DLC, the Lake House, will release on October 22nd, 2024. So just in a couple days, if you're listening to this podcast in real time, the Lake House, the second and final expansion of Alan Wake 2. It appears the deluxe upgrade for this game. So how you can buy the Lake House DLC is to pay $20. And I was looking on PSN. So pay $20, you're going to get the first expansion, the Night Springs expansion, which is available right now if you'd like to play that. And then you'll also get the Lake House expansion, which comes out in 2 days on October 22nd, 2024 for Alan Wake 2, the critically acclaimed game from Remedy. So still talking about some Remedy stuff there. And I actually did try to play some Alan Wake 2 over the weekend. It's, we're in the month of spooks and the ghouls and the goblins for Halloween. And, it was dark. It was nighttime. I turned the lights off. I put the headphones on. I started playing some Alan Wake 2. And I got scared within like the first 7 minutes. I got like a pretty good jump scare. And then I played a couple more minutes and gave up. So maybe something I should tackle a little bit longer. But definitely a very scary, and it really draws you into that world. It's immersive, I would say, for sure, because it was scaring me. But this Alan Wake 2, the Lake House DLC, not only does this expansion further establish the Remedy connected universe and offer a real treat to all of you Control fans out there, but it also deepens the story and the horror of Alan Wake 2. So just what I needed, some more horror from Alan Wake 2. As FBC agent Estevez, armed with a new weapon against a new enemy, players will enter the Lake House, a Federal Bureau of Control-run research facility where horror awaits. Oh, so that's pretty cool, though. It's just going to look kind of like an abandoned lake house or a nondescript lake house on the side of a lake, but it's actually going to contain a Federal Bureau of Control-run research facility where horror awaits. So definitely some intrigue there from me. I like some of these horror games, and maybe I just need to power through, because I have games going right now in my backlog like Dead Space Remake. What was the other one? Dead Space Remake is one. Alan Wake 2 is definitely one. And I thought I had another one on my Xbox that I was too scared to play, but maybe I need to push through. I think Dead Space was one that I was having a lot of fun with, and it's something I need to give some more chances to. So we will see. Maybe we will double back. Last year was the year of survival horror on the Dep Lewis Show, so that's why I got into some of these things more than I normally would. So Alan Wake 2, the Lake House DLC, is going to be released October 22nd. In a couple days. All right, so what else happened in this Xbox partner showcase? Partner preview. So they showed off a game called Wheel World. So get your wheels ready out there. The official announcement trailer was shown. It's coming in early 2025 to Xbox Series X and S, PC, and Game Pass. Developed by Messhof and published by Annapurna Interactive. And the reason I said Messhof like that was because I wasn't sure that it's pronounced that way, but Messhof, so Messhof. That sounds, I guess that's a pretty good guess at it. Welcome to Wheel World, where the fate of the universe rests on your handlebars. You are Kat with a K, a young cyclist with one mission: save Wheel World from total collapse. Explore a stunning open world filled with impressive vistas. I guess it's a vistas as what it needs to be. Hidden secrets and races that will test your skills. Customize your bike with an endless array of parts, from sleek speedsters to off-road beasts. There's no limit to how you can ride. So, no limit to how you can ride in Wheel World. It looks like a pretty cool game. I don't think it's going to be a full price game. It's coming to Game Pass. It looks interesting. You're riding a bike all around the world in different areas and different terrains and environments. So a little bit of a Death Stranding bicycle game, maybe, if you will. But Wheel World looking pretty cool. Definitely looking interesting and something worth. I think that one's worth like hearing about for me. I don't know if any of this stuff is day one for me with any of these announcements on this Xbox partner preview. All right, so they have told us that Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. And that is really the total name of this game. Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. It is set to be released on February 21st, 2025 on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox consoles. $59.99 US, so it's a full price game. And I think a little bit of this Yakuza stuff is confusing, but it's another full price game. I don't know how they're releasing so many games and they're seemingly having such high quality, but congratulations to them. A new legend begins as you step into the steel toe boots of Goro Majima, a man who has lost his memory and reinvents himself as a pirate on the open sea. Embark on an over-the-top modern-day pirate adventure with an ex-Yakuza, now a pirate captain, and his crew as they engage in exhilarating combat on land and seas in the hunt for lost memories and a legendary treasure. So, Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii seems like another one. That's another one. This franchise seems very fun. It's critically acclaimed. I have a couple of these games in my backlog, and I need to get to them at some point. So, Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. Seems like an unreal name, but it's going to release on February 21st, 2025. All right, what else? What other news from the Xbox partner preview? Animal Well, a game that released earlier this year for Nintendo Switch, PlayStation, and PC, is now available on Xbox. So hooray for anyone wanting to play Animal Well on Xbox. $24.99 US, developed by Billy Basso and published by Big Mode. Hatch from your flower and spelunk through the beautiful and sometimes haunting world of Animal Well, a pixelated wonder rendered in intricate audio and visual detail. Encounter lively creatures small and large, helpful and ominous as you discover unconventional upgrades and unravel the well's secrets. This is a truly unique experience that can make you laugh in fear, surprise, or delight. I think a lot of people were delighted by this video game when it came out, so definitely something worth checking out. And if you are an Xbox-only owner, this is great news for you if you're interested in playing some Animal Well. So it's available right now on Xbox, and it's been available on other platforms as well. Came out earlier in 2024. All right, what else? Phasmophobia. Phasmophobia is coming to Xbox consoles on October 29th, 2024. The paranormal horror game by British indie game studio Kinetic Games. This game became available in early access for Microsoft Windows with virtual reality support in September 2020. So if you want to be fully immersed into some horror, it's a 4-player online co-op game where you and your team members of paranormal investigators will enter haunted locations filled with paranormal activity and gather as much evidence on the paranormal as you can. So that's another game that I just feel like out there in the ether is very popular. Maybe a little bit has like a cult following a little bit, but Phasmophobia coming to Xbox, great news. I think some of these things do take a little bit longer to come to Xbox, and I think there's different reasons there. Maybe the Series S, maybe just business dealings, I'm not sure, but it's nice to see these games that are out on multiple platforms come to Xbox. I guess this was available only on PC before, so, I'm just talking like a dummy right now, but came from PC, come to Xbox. It's nice to get the options out there if you are a console owner, especially talking about this Xbox partner preview. So another game that was announced is Subnautica 2, announced for early access in 2025, includes an entirely new planet and co-op. It's going to have cooperative play, so if you want to cooperate with somebody, you can. Subnautica is Subnautica the original, if you don't know about that one, which I don't have much knowledge about it besides knowing it's like a diving ocean game. Subnautica is a 2018 action-adventure survival game developed and published by Unknown Worlds Entertainment. The player controls Riley Robinson. That's a pretty good video game protagonist, a survivor of a spaceship crash on an alien oceanic planet where they are free to explore. PS4, PS5, Nintendo Switch, and Xbox One. So Subnautica 2 is announced for early access in 2025. So that seems like pretty great news, because I think the first game is very popular. All right, Xbox partner preview. What else you got for us? We got a couple more games here to talk about. So these ones are a little more quick hitters, but definitely I think I summarized kind of the ones that hit the hardest from that trailer. But there's other games in the trailer as well, so go watch it. I'm not going to summarize every game here, but this is pretty much the majority of games they talked about. They have a game called Wuchang Fallen Feathers. A new gameplay trailer was shown. It's coming to Xbox, XS, and PC, and Game Pass in 2025, to be announced the date officially. The developer of this is Lean-Z Games and publisher 505 Games. It's a Souls-like, and they actually call it a Souls-like, so that's an interesting thing. That's a kind of like a new term, like the Metroidvania is now. Souls-like is going to be out there, where one particular video game has kind of birthed a whole sub-genre of video games, and they're kind of giving credit back to it a little bit in the name. So that's pretty cool, and I think it's a good little nod, and I think it's appropriate enough time to call your game a Souls-like. I think calling it a Souls-like conveys enough information to people at this point that it's an effective label, and it gets a certain crowd definitely into it, and it's going to expand the Souls-like genre doing this. So it's Souls-like action RPG set in the land of Shu during the dark and tumultuous late Ming Dynasty, plagued with warring factions and a mysterious illness, spawning monstrous creatures. So a little bit too much of not tough enough to play some of these games. These Souls-like games are very tough on the combat, and I don't know if that is my angle at video games these days, but I think they're very fun. I've tried my hand at some of them, and I definitely like watching people play them on the internet and stream them and things like that and just talk about them. So hopefully this will be a great entry into the Souls-like genre outside of the beaten path. Wuchang Fallen Feathers. Coming out in 2025 is what they're saying, but no official date. So Xbox partner preview also showed us Cronos, The New Dawn. It's a new game by Bloober Team that has been announced. It's the same team that did the recent Silent Hill 2 remake, developed and published by Bloober Team. This game will be pulse-pounding third-person survival horror game that throws you into the heart of a deadly struggle against overwhelming foes, all while uncovering the mysteries of a twisted time travel story. The game is coming in 2025 for PC and Xbox. So Cronos, The New Dawn. Blindfire, another game they showed off, an online multiplayer first-person shooter. Online multiplayer first-person shooter that takes place in the dark. Brave the arena alone or team up in matches of 8 players. Showcases colorful hooded figures and neon lights. So they kind of look like Destiny characters if I'm talking about hooded figures. They just have or a little bit like Altair, like Destiny mixed with Altair. These base characters are looking like. They look pretty cool. Developed and published by Double 11 Studios, and it was out that same day, so that was a cool thing. Released on 10/17/2024 in early access for Xbox Series X and S and PC, and that is a game called Blindfire. All right, the last game from the Xbox partner preview I would like to detail is a game called Mouse PI for Hire. The PI stands for Private Investigator, and join that private investigator, Jack Pepper, another great video game, protagonist game, especially for a mouse, on a guns-blazing, jazz-fueled adventure in Mouse PI for Hire. Mouse combines the charm of hand-drawn, rubber hose animation inspired by the classic cartoons of the 1930s with the adrenaline and action of an explosive first-person shooter. Developed by Fumi Games and published by PlaySide, it's coming to Xbox Series X and S and PC sometime in 2025. And all the comparisons that you will see on the internet to this game for the style of art is Mickey Mouse mixed with Cuphead. And I think it's a cool looking art style. It's definitely a smart move to talk about in the notes that it's inspired by the classic cartoons of the 1930s, because that is what Cuphead is inspired by as well. And this game has an interesting art style. It definitely seems like it's something creative, and Mouse PI for Hire is going to release sometime in 2025. So that was everything from the Xbox partner preview. I went down and talked about a lot of games from that show. There's still more that were shown that I haven't talked about, so if you want to see the full list of games, go check that out on the internet or go watch it over there on Microsoft's YouTube channel. But I talked about FCB Firebreak, Alan Wake 2, the Lake House DLC, or expansion, whatever you want to call it, Wheel World, Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, Animal Well, Phasmophobia, Subnautica 2, Wuchang, Fallen Feathers, Cronos, The New Dawn, Blindfire, Mouse PI for Hire. So my overall thoughts was a pretty underwhelming show. I don't know what as someone who's been leaning to the PlayStation side of things these days based on the exclusives and having, great third-party games just like the Xbox does, I kind of look, there's not too much these days to really have, there's not really too many exclusives these days to hang your hat on as an Xbox fan. So I don't think this show really did anything to change that fact, and especially for me, not some of these games won't be things that I'd be interested in playing. So overall, kind of a flop of a showcase, but I think there's some good stuff here for other people. Maybe not for me personally, but I think as a whole, people are probably feeling a little bit of a letdown from Xbox in general. I think some people will see this and say, hey, I like some of these games. Some of these things seem cool, but is there a real reason that I need an Xbox to play these games? I don't know if that's the case. And I think a lot of these games will come to other platforms and on PC. So a lot of people are playing games other places these days. So I don't know. A little bit of a letdown on the show, but it wasn't touted as a great, going to have mega releases and things like that. But we got some information, and I am glad to look at it, check it out, and tell you about it here on the Dep Lewis Show, episode 99. So what else is going on around the video game world? That's everything from the Xbox Partner Preview I wanted to tell you about. So there's some other stuff going on. So let's see. Yeah, I got some other video game things to get into here. So there has been some releases. A release from earlier in the year, I think it was September 6th, was Astrobot, which is a great video game I mentioned in the first section. 5 new levels with 10 new special bots for you to rescue begin rolling out 10/17/2024. So they are releasing these new levels a week at a time, and Building Speed is the name of the first brand new speedrun level being released. These levels will test your platforming skills and alongside an online leaderboard. So I've definitely seen Dan Reichert and his sister Kayla. I think Mike Minotti was in on it. So the Giant Bomb guys and adjacent family and friends were into the stream speedrunning of this. And maybe something I need to get into myself because I like the leaderboard aspect of it, and I need to go check that out. I don't know why that was something that I wasn't thinking about, but I definitely saw a lot of hoopla over the speedrunning over the weekend. So these things have been released, and they're seeming like people are having a great time with them. So these will give you a chance to compete against all of your PlayStation friends. So I guess that's where the fun's been being had. But in the first level, Building Speed, with the help of Barkster, the Bulldog Booster, you will blast your way through a sky-high city, dodge cranes, smash through crates, and even speed through a flying car wash on the way to rescue your stranded crew. So the release schedule for this is a weekly thing. So 10/17 Building Speed, 10/24 Let It Slide, 10/31 Spring Loaded Run, 11/7 Helium Heights, and 11/14 Rising Heat. So I think that's an interesting take on releasing new content. All this content is free. Adding the leaderboard thing in there with your PlayStation friends is very smart to get people engaged with it and talking to your friends about it and telling them about it. So I think some really smart moves being made here by Astrobot, which is a wonderful, excellent, amazing video game just at its core. So what's more, each of these new levels contains 2 brand new special bots to collect for you to rescue, and that's 10 new beloved characters to add to your crew. So bumping the numbers up there on the bots, and I think that is something that completionists and a lot of people have had fun going to try to collect them all, just like the Pokemon. But Astrobot, really great video game. New content rolling out weekly, and the first one is out right now. And the first bit of content is out right now. So I want to tell you about a video game that has been released. Mario Party Jamboree, available right now, released on 10/17/2024, a very popular day for video games. For Nintendo Switch for $59.99 US. The Mario Party series is back and more jam-packed than ever, with over 110 minigames, new online and offline modes, and plenty of customization choices. There's something for every kind of partygoer. Play as one of 22 characters, including new additions, Pauline and Ninji. It's the most characters of any Mario Party game so far. So have a blast on your choice of 5 new boards and 2 returning favorites. I've been hearing some people say that Mario Party Superstars is the best one released recently. That I've been hearing some people say that this is the best Mario Party game out there right now, or especially for Nintendo Switch, and I guess kind of in general too, is what they were speaking to. So I have a feeling that this is a pretty good game. I think there's going to be some dispute on which is the best Mario Party game still, but I think there's going to be a firm camp of people that are saying this is one of the best Mario Party game entries. I've heard the boards are cool. I think it's cool they have that many characters in the game. I think I've heard that from multiple people talking about they're touting so many mini games in the game, but a large portion of those, or a good subsection of those mini games, are siphoned off to modes or gameplay modes that you might not necessarily play very often. But it seems like there's some fun to be had here, and Mario Party is a little bit of a love it or hate it thing. It doesn't sound like this will change people's mind on the Mario Party, but it does sound like it's a good entry in the Mario Party series, and Mario Party Jamboree is available right now. It's something you can hear me playing at some point, so if any friends of the show want to get the Mario Party Jamboree going on, I'd definitely be down for doing that. More games. Let's talk about some upcoming releases. I just want to keep these on your radar. Life is Strange Double Exposure. It's going to release for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, Nintendo Switch, and Windows on October 29th, 2024. So a little over a week away for listening in real time. It's going to be $49.99 US. Developed by Deck 9 and published by Square Enix. Max Caulfield is the photographer in residence at the prestigious Caledon University. Discovers her closest new friend, Safie, is dead, and discovers her new friend Safie dead in the snow, murdered. To save her, Max tries to rewind time, a power she's not used in years. Instead, Max opens the ways to a parallel timeline where Safie, I hope that's how you say it, maybe it's Safie, is still alive and still in danger. Max realizes the killer will soon strike again in both versions of reality with her new powers to shift between two timelines. Can Max solve and prevent the same murder? You got to play Life is Strange Double Exposure on October 29, 2024 to tell. So this seems like a pretty cool franchise, something I have not too much familiarity with besides, I guess, hearing some people talk about it on the internet or watching a portion of gameplay. But I think Max Caulfield is one of the series greats, and they're bringing her back in this one. So I think some people, there's been some mixed reaction on if they wanted to see Max again, but I think some people have been happy about that as well. So that's just my outside looking in view on Life is Strange, but I think it's a cool looking franchise. It kind of, in my mind, it's in the Walking Dead, those Telltale games, kind of in those adventure game genre of my mind, and that could be completely incorrect, but I kind of think that's what I'd be getting going into playing this game. In the other game, The Wolf of something, I forget, it's not The Wolf of Wall Street, but The Wolf of, I think you probably know what I'm talking about if I'm thinking about Telltale games, but that game is pretty interesting too. But I could be completely wrong. I think this is a little more of a third-person kind of action thing, but Life is Strange Double Exposure definitely looks cool, and it comes out on October 29th, 2024. Another game I'm interested in, and a franchise I thought is good in the past, is Dragon Quest Veilguard. This releases for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and Windows on October 31st, 2024. It's going to be $69.99 US, developed by BioWare and published by EA. When a pair of corrupt ancient gods break free from centuries of darkness, the vibrant land of Thetis needs someone they can count on. Rises Rook, Dragon Age's newest hero. Be who you want to be and play how you want to play as you fight back and lead your team of 7 companions, each with their own rich story. Together, you will become the Veilguard. So my thoughts on this are, it looks cool. I'm not 100% sold it's going to be good. I've heard some preview stuff that's saying that it seems like a good game. It seems a little bit like third-person action, kind of Baldur's Gate. So I think that's kind of would be a cool thing, especially as someone who maybe doesn't love the Baldur's Gate combat that much and would like some third-person kind of interactive combat. So this is interesting. I just don't know where I'm going to fit it into my video game timeline at the moment. I have a lot of great games I'm playing currently, and I still have a few games I'd like to maybe pick up before the end of the year, but I'm a little bit unclear on what to do so. So a couple of these I might have to put on the back burner and pick up later down the road, or especially if I hear some really amazing things after the release, I could be tempted to pick it up. But there are, it's a good spot to be when you have a lot of great games to play. So it's and there's still releases coming out. So Dragon Quest Veilguard comes out on October 31st, 2024. All right, a couple more little video game news things to talk about. Banjo Tooie, the game that originally released January 20th, 2000, many moons ago, is coming to Nintendo Switch Online October 25th, 2024. So this will be available on the expansion pack tier of the N64 section, or the expansion pack tier, which includes the N64 section. Grunty is back from the dead, and only the bear and the bird can stop her. So this is one of my favorite franchises of all time. I have both of these games on Xbox. So I've been watching a lot of retro collecting things and retro collecting things on YouTube. And it's been making me realize that the current Xbox Series X is a pretty good retro machine. It can run a lot of old games. It can run, if you were trying to have some N64 nostalgia, you can run Banjo Kazooie, Banjo Tooie. You can run GoldenEye on the Xbox, and there's a whole backwards compatibility with the Xbox. So I think that's a pretty cool thing. If you have a Xbox Series X with the disc version, which is the current one available, but they have a discless version coming pretty soon. But if you have the disc version, you can still buy some of these old games. I don't think everything's fully compatible, but it'll be a retro machine one day in general, but it can play some retro games right now. So I think it's a pretty cool thing and something in the future that'll be cool to have. So I'm thinking about my Xbox a little bit more that way these days, especially with with kind of having the PlayStation as my main. I really like playing a lot of their exclusives, and not too many on the Xbox these days. So just kind of rambling, but I think it's pretty cool. These retro games getting brought onto different platforms, and Banjo 2 will be on Nintendo Switch Online October 25th, 2024. So talking about Nintendo Switch Online, they've kind of been, there's all that playtest stuff going on, so they're doing some type of big playtest with current subscribers to test something out, but there's a lot of rumors and speculation on the Switch 2 coming out, so I think some of this stuff is just Nintendo upgrading their Nintendo Switch Online service for the next platform. So they've even been saying, hey, the upcoming year 3 of this service is coming. Stay tuned for excitement in 2025. So whatever that means, who knows? My first guess is it's going to increase the price of their service in some way. But if they can make their service a little more comparable to Xbox or PlayStation's with functionality and stuff going on with that, I think that could be interesting. I think it's going to be hard to get everyone to want to pay $80 a year or whatever it may be for Switch, Xbox, and PlayStation. I think people will have to make some choices there, and I will be in that category as well, as someone who doesn't really like paying for online in general, but sometimes it's just fun to do and play some online games and have access to those kind of things. But I just want to say Nintendo Switch Online, they have that playtest thing going on. They're saying next year is going to have some exciting news coming up on year 3 of the service, so let's see what they got for us. All right, the last thing I want to talk about, I guess talking about some of this retro stuff. This is, a little bit of some retro news, but it's in the modern generation. So the Analogue, the company that has released other Analogue, I guess it's called Analogue Pocket, the Game Boy equivalent, the upgraded brand new reimagining of a Game Boy. They now have an Analogue 3D, which is a reimagining of the N64 that's been announced. It's going to be $249.99 US. It comes with the console, the HDMI cable, a USB cable, and a worldwide USB-C power supply in box. Pre-order begins October 21st. So tomorrow, if you're listening real time, 8 a.m. Pacific time, that's what they're saying, if you want to pre-order this machine. So it's basically a modern N64. It's going to have an HDMI cable on it. It's going to be running on a USB-C. It's going to have a USB cable. You're going to be able to put your old games into this and run them perfectly. You'll be able to plug your controllers into it. They're also going to sell you a new controller if you'd like one. So some pretty interesting stuff going on here. I think, if I was just, a really successful podcaster, this would be something I'd want to be picking up and pre-ordering, because I think it's very cool. I think it's can be fun to have and an interesting piece of hardware. But so they're touting this will be in 4K resolution, 10 times the resolution of the original N64. The first and perhaps greatest multiplayer system of all time is what they were saying. And I've heard people on podcasts kind of disputing that this week. But I think the N64 was one of the first, or if not the first, console with 4 controller ports. So I think there's a pretty good argument there for it being the greatest multiplayer system of all time, or at least one of the most important of all time. Analogue 3D, is 100% compatible with every original N64 game ever made. Region-free, Bluetooth LE dual-band Wi-Fi. It has 4 original style controller ports. An entirely new next-generation analog hardware featuring 3D operating system, engineered entirely in FPGA, no emulation. So more info. Analogue 3D represents a milestone in video game preservation. It's not only the world's first reimagining of an N64, but it's the world's first 100% compatible recreation of an N64. Analogue spent nearly 4 years engineering it in FPGA. No more incompatibilities found in software emulation like input lag, graphic audio inaccuracies, timing, frame rate issues, and more. For the first time, you can re-experience the N64 exactly as it was meant to be without compromise. So, very, very cool. And they're also selling an 8-bit DOE 64 controller, so they partnered with 8-bit DOE. They have a controller, an icon never felt so new. We worked closely with 8-bit DOE to design a wireless Bluetooth recreation of the original N64 controller with a modern form factor, crafted with an uncompromising attention to detail. The C buttons, D-pad, and AB buttons retain the original size, sub layouts, and feel, featuring a superior quality Hall effect joystick with the original style N64 gate. Say goodbye to the infamous loose joysticks that plagued original controllers. And now you can even update your 8-bit DO controller directly with Analogue 3D simply by plugging it in. A tribute to N64 like never before. And a pretty great affordable price point, I would say, at $39.99 US for this controller. It is sold separately and just definitely something very interesting. So I think this is cool. I don't currently own any N64 games. I think it could be really fun to buy this and then kind of get into picking up N64 games. This makes it a more viable way to play it on current TVs. I think that's something that would be a negative to buying an older N64 at this point. And you have to buy an adapter to get it onto your TV, and it still may not look as great. But this could be a way to get a retro console a little bit modern, and you could go shopping for retro games. So something I'm definitely interested in. Something I don't think I'd be in the first line to pre-order this just because it's an expensive thing. But if they were to keep these on their store and sell them over time, I could see myself maybe wanting to purchase one of these at some point. Kind of the same case with the Analogue Pocket. I think these are really just cool. I don't own any games in this backlog category, but even if you just owned a couple games and it could give you something, own a couple games, that would be all you need. And then you could collect games over time if you felt like it. But if you had, 5 games that ran really great on the system, it could just be a really fun thing to have as something in your home, or, bust out party-wise, or have a nostalgia trip, or just something quick to play if you want to disconnect from modern consoles. I think it's just a fun avenue and something I've been going down the rabbit hole a little bit myself of interest. So I think some of this retro stuff is cool. I'm not really a collector, but I could see myself getting into it for a little bit of small nostalgia trip, or just something to shop for over time is fun. Maybe not trying to collect them all, but maybe that's how all these collector people start. But it seems fun, something I'm interested in. And the Analogue 3D is definitely a cool looking console. So go pre-order that tomorrow if you're interested in that. $249.99 US, a reimagining of the N64. So that's going to wrap up all the video game news and information I have for you this week. So I want to go over everything we talked about. We talked about the Xbox partner preview. I talked about most of the games announced from that, but go check that video out if you want to go watch that yourself of what Xbox is showing off. That was around 30 minutes in length of a video. A lot of cool games shown off there. Nothing really putting me over the moon, but definitely some solid releases going on. Astrobot has some new levels coming out, so a new one is available right now. We talked about the release of Mario Party Jamboree, available right now. Life is Strange Double Exposure releases on October 29th, 2024. Dragon Quest Veilguard comes out on October 31st, 2024. Banjo-Kazooie comes to Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack tier October 25th, 2024. Nintendo Switch Online next year will be the third year of that service, and Analogue 3D is available for pre-order on October 21st, 2024. So that's all the video game news I have for you this week and information. Hopefully you found something interesting there, and I will be back next week with more video game news and information as always. So that's going to wrap up the mid section of this show. We're going to come back for one final section, the miscellaneous talk section, after this music. Welcome back to the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 99, the miscellaneous talk section, where I can talk about anything I want to outside the video game world. So I'd like to get into the worldwide world of sports and tell you what's going on with my favorite teams. I talked about these a little bit at the jump of the show, so you got a preview, but the Carolina Panthers played today at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but they took another loss last week, so I think I'm going to be on this show reporting a lot of losses in this season. I think the team is getting a little bit worse as time goes on. There's a lot of talk about Panthers shipping some players out of town, so we're on a little bit of a watch to see some of that, but last week they lost to the Falcons in Charlotte, and the result was Panthers lost 20-38, so the Panthers look bad. Chuba, Deontay, JC, and even Andy, to a degree, were the only bright spots. Andy Dalton will be an A-level backup, just not enough to make a huge impact right now on this team. Andy Dalton was 26 of 38, 221 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, no sacks. And no sacks was very nice. Chuba had 18 carries for 92 yards. Deontay, 6 catches for 78 yards and a touchdown, 10 targets. So offense been doing a little bit more. Troy Hill, Xavier Woods, and Trevin Wallace all with 9 tackles. And Troy Hill is no longer on the team. So, no longer on the team. So they said, hey, you led the team in tackles last week. We need to get you out of town. That's not what we need you to be doing. We need you to miss tackles. We need to get these. We need to lose more games. So I don't really know. I guess they're just in a huge tank mode, but at some point they have to get out of tank mode. Positive in the Panthers news is Jonathan Brooks has been returned to practice. He is number 24, who was a second-round pick in 2024. He went to Texas. He's 6 foot, 207. A lot of excitement around him, and he's looking pretty good in practice. So another weapon back there. They've been talking Thunder and Lightning, going to be Chuba and Jonathan Brooks, but I am going to want to wait to see what the roster is going to look like. They could ship everybody out of town. They're releasing people. Who knows what's going to happen with the Panthers? I really can't gauge or judge or try to interpret their direction at this point. But they play today at Washington against the Commanders at 4:05. So get to play the phenomenal rookie Jaden Daniels, who has been really, really accurate and athletic and really lighting the NFL on fire. So I think I would expect a loss for the Panthers today, but I'm going to watch and be hopeful, but I don't have high expectations. The Panthers' next game after today will be at the Broncos next Sunday at 4 o'clock. So potentially winnable game, but I think the Broncos have a little bit been doing better and having some positive things going on, so maybe more so than the Panthers, and I really just don't expect the Panthers to get too many more wins this season. I don't know if they really will get any wins. I could see them I could see them getting one. I wouldn't be that surprised over that. More than one, I'm probably going to be surprised. So sad state of affairs for the Carolina Panthers and fans like myself. But the NBA season starts this week, so that's a positive. I am a pseudo fan of the Charlotte Hornets because I live in North Carolina. I can go to some of these games. The first game of the season for the Hornets is at Houston, October 23rd, 2024, so in the upcoming week. And Brooklyn, Charlotte, and OKC is their week one. That's the Hawks. So that is my favorite team, the Atlanta Hawks. The first game of their season is in Brooklyn. Is versus Brooklyn in Atlanta, October 23rd. Brooklyn, Charlotte, and OKC is the first week for the Hawks. So like the Braves, I try to watch mostly all the Hawks games of the season. One of my favorite things to do, so I'm going to be really hyped for that. Hope the Hawks can be good. I hope they can be a firm playoff team. I don't know if they will be, but hopefully the remix of the roster and drafting Reese Shea will be a nice addition. He's been looking good early in the season, and I have some hope for the Hawks going into the season. The car keys are back handed over to Trey completely. He's got some new athletic giant wings on the court with him that could also turn into really, really great players or potentially superstars, and that is what I'm hoping for with the Atlanta Hawks. So I'll be going to a few Hornets games over the course of the season. I definitely want to go watch the Hawks are in town. I believe it's November 30th. That's the one I got on my calendar. I think Halliburton and the Pacers come to Charlotte in November. I'd like to maybe go check that out. I saw Halliburton play a couple times last year, and he's worth going to check out. He's really, really fun to watch and a cool player. So ready for the NBA season, ready to start betting some NBA parlays. I'm missing the Major League Baseball regular season betting, where you have 16 matchups of the day to choose from, and you can pick and choose your favorite matchups and try to hit a parlay. It's very fun to do, and I'm going to do it again with the NBA season coming up. So that's my plan. And please gamble responsibly out there, but it is a fun way to interact with some sports, and I'm excited for it. So NBA starting up soon, coming up next week, and we're going to be starting to get updates on all the Hawks games and beginning a lot of Atlanta Hawks information. So moving on from the Panthers a little bit. No, we're not moving on from the Panthers. We're moving on from the Braves. It's a complete offseason over there. My favorite baseball team in the universe. Spring training begins February 22nd, 2025. First game of the regular season is at the Padres, March 27, 2025, 4-game series, followed by the Dodgers, then home versus Miami, then at the Phillies to start the season. So not that I'm ready for the Braves season to start at all. I miss the Braves. But there's still some baseball going on. The Yankees punched their ticket to the World Series last night, beating the Guardians. The Yankees won 5-2 in that game, where they won the series 4-1. And then we still have the Dodgers and Mets playing. Dodgers leads the series 3-2, so this could be the clinching game for them tonight, and that's kind of my anticipation. I think we're going to see the Yankees and the Dodgers, and I think that's going to be a really epic, amazing World Series. As someone who is a Braves fan and sad that my team is not in it, I think that will be a matchup worthy of a World Series and something really great to watch. Soto hit a home run last night to take the lead. That was really just epic and amazing, and he said something at the end of the game like he knew he was all over that the whole time. It's like he went up there with that mentality that he was going to be all over the pitcher, and when he swung that bat, it was a no-doubter, and those are super fun to watch and really, really great, and excited for Yankees fans for that one, as I shouldn't be, but I'm just a huge fan of Soto. I think he's a great baseball player, and I was excited. I would be excited if I was a Yankees fan when that trade happened. So, I have a few players across the league that I enjoy watching, and Soto is definitely on that list. He's a amazing baseball player. So fun stuff. Getting a little bit back into the baseball spirit. It's always a little bit of a lag for me after the Braves lose, if they do lose, of being a little bit down on it. But getting back into it, been watching some. I was kind of rooting for the Guardians. Were kind of my team. I wanted to make a push, but I'll be happy to watch them. Just quality baseball, and now I'm kind of hoping for a long series. So that's my hope there on the baseball world. And a lot of great sports going on. So go Panthers today. Go Hawks in the upcoming week, and that's what's going on. Hit some parlays out there. Hope your team wins. Hope your fantasy team wins. I got to check my lineup here in a bit. I don't know if Kenneth Walker is going to play, so I'm checking on that. I'm starting somebody instead of him. Let's see who that is. Who is my question mark in my fantasy team today? I think it's, Austin Eckler. I think I'm going to play him against the Panthers instead of Kenneth Walker. They said Kenneth Walker would be a 90-minute decision, so that's a little bit scary. And I did not play Javonte Williams. In the Denver's win over the Saints this past Thursday, Javonte would have had 24 points for me. So sitting on my bench, but hopefully I can utilize him in a future week and have some success. So that's going to wrap up the miscellaneous talk section of the show today. I'm going to go get this podcast out and then get into watching some sports. So talked about the Carolina Panthers. They played the Commanders today. They play the Broncos next week. The Hornets and the Hawks upcoming season starts this week on the 23rd, October 23rd, 2024. So get excited for that. The Braves are in the offseason, and the World Series is almost upon us. The Dodgers could clinch against the Mets today in the NLCS and go to the World Series. So pretty exciting stuff there in the baseball world. And I will be back next week to tell you about what's going on in the sports world, as I always do, in this miscellaneous talk section. So that's going to wrap up the miscellaneous talk section, and that's going to wrap up the entire Dep Lewis Show, episode 99. So I want to reiterate some promotional talk from the beginning. Please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. Find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. Twitch.tv/Dep Lewis Show is a great place to follow. I've been streaming a little more often of just throwing the stream on, playing some games. Not necessarily on there with the voice or a camera, but just on there streaming some games and maybe just trying to promote the podcast, but showing off some video games. So twitch.tv/Dep Lewis Show is great. If you'd like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available. If you'd like to subscribe monthly, and then Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you'd like to support the show. So just thank you for listening. I really do appreciate it. I have a ton of fun doing this. I say that very often, but it is very true, and I'm just appreciative of you interacting with any bit of my content. This is episode 99, so pretty cool. Next week's episode is going to be 100. I think it's going to be a pretty great milestone. In the grand scheme of things, it's not going to mean too much because I'm going to be doing a lot of episodes of this show, but I think it's going to be, for a while, at least I'm going to be saying, hey, I have 100 episodes of this podcast going out. I've been talking for almost 100 hours on the internet. Really, really fun thing. I think, it's almost at the, I've been doing it since October 2022. So, almost going to be 2 full years of doing it. So it's getting into some pretty exciting stuff over here for myself and just having a lot of fun and continuing to grow and evolve the show and have more fun and refine my abilities and all that kind of stuff. So it's just a really fun endeavor, and I appreciate you joining me along on this endeavor for any portion of it. So just thank you for doing that. And I hope you have a wonderful week out there in the world. I really do. I hope you get a promotion at your job. I hope you win the lottery. I hope you go on vacation. I hope you see a cool dog. I hope you get a new pet. I hope you eat something good. I hope you get a new video game. I hope you go on a date. I hope you go to a party. I just hope you have a wonderful week out there in the world. Hope you play some video games. Hope you watch some sports. And I hope you come back next week and listen to another episode of Dep Lewis Show.